Spore is a 2008 game made by Maxis, who have made The Sims and other things.
Yeah, like Spore.
Spore is a masterpiece, kind of.
Yeah, it's a flawed masterpiece. It's really good, but also really bad. It's full of bugs. We should probably actually talk about what Spore is about.
So Spore is kind of a Maxis game. It's more of a Will Wright thing. But in it, your goal is to make a species and rival other species and go to various stages.
So you begin in the cell stage as a single-celled organism. And you can start out as either a carnivore or an herbivore.
Or both.
Well, you don't get to start as both.
Yes, you don't.
You can unlock the ability to become both, either by evolving to have both a carnivore and herbivore mouth, or by having a omnivore mouth unlocked by hunting another cell that is an omnivore and then unlocking their mouth.
See, Spore was a pain to develop. This was at the point of time when Maxis was going through a huge downfall, meaning Spore is kind of hated.
It is.
Well, I mean, kind of is hated. But you can make various weird things in it, like fruits, and make weird mutations of yourself.
This is true. So your goal in the creature stage is to attempt to eat enough to evolve a brain, because as we all know, all creatures started as single-celled organisms until they got a brain, at which point they grew to massive size and crawled out of the ocean. Or at least, that's what I've learned from Spore.
Spore has officially gained us one brain cell. Spore had not a lot of really hit receptions. There was Dark Spore, which was a MMO thing. There was also a kind of DS version of Spore.
Yeah.
Even though it's very flawed.
Yeah, Spore had a lot of spin-offs.
A lot. But we won't be talking about those because we're not mainly on Spore. Spore itself is a flawed, yet good game, and there's still a lot of community content around it.
There are. Spore has an excellent modding community. Many mods of Spore are actually designed to backport content from Dark Spore, the MMO, into Spore, because they are based on the same engine. Dark Spore did not feature full creature creation. However, its character customization used the same basis. So by backporting parts from the Dark Spore hero creator to Spore,
you can make kind of a mangle of both.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Dark Spore was shut down by Maxis.
It was.
Sadly.
There is a fan server project out there. I don't know if it works though.
Probably because it's a game that exists.
Yep.
And of course, Spore also has other stages.
Yes, so after you are in the cell stage, you move on to the creature stage. Now, to a lot of people, I think the creature stage is kind of the meat of the game. Like, when people are thinking of Spore, that's what they're thinking of, because it is throughout the creature stage where you can either fight or befriend other creatures to gain DNA and evolve.
You can also, I think it's at this stage where you can start religiously converting other...
That's actually in the tribal stage.
I forgot that.
In the creature stage, you don't quite get to the religious conversion yet. However, depending on what you did in the cell stage, you can have one of several abilities. Either you can have one that scares off other creatures, one that makes hostile creatures temporarily non-hostile, or if you're an omnivore, as all omnivores can do, you can summon creatures forth from the ether to help you do stuff. They just act as allies temporarily.
Now, let's talk about Tribal Stage. I think Tribal Stage comes after.
Yeah, Tribal Stage is next.
Tribal Stage is where your civilization gets way more advanced.
Well, it's really when you properly become a civilization. And in Tribal Stage, several other species begin to pop up as their own tribes. And your goal is either to murder them all, murder only some of them, or religiously convert them all to your religion, which for some reason makes them turn into your species in Civilization Stage.
And of course, sometimes bad things will happen, such as other tribes that are friends of that tribe getting mad at you. They will try to attack you. Let's move on to Civilization Stage. This is where you can go to the moon, I think.
Not quite yet. That's Space Stage.
That's
In Civilization Stage. So Civilization Stage is my personal favorite, though I think a lot of people actually kind of dislike it because it's nowhere near as good as they made it seem like it was going to be. You know, I think it really suffered from the development of the game a lot. But in Civilization Stage, your goal is to take over the world, either through religion, through capitalism, or through military might. Now, of course, capitalism is my favorite.
Because or at this stage, you can directly run everything into the ground, causing many wars.
You can cause many wars, though you have to be careful because you can end up in a spiral where everyone in the world gets at war with you and then you die. Unlike Creature Stage and Cell Stage, in Tribal and Civilization Stage, if you die, you instead go back to your last save. And that can actually be
Pretty helpful.
It can be pretty helpful, but it can be a problem. I've had cases where I'm about to die, but I don't know it yet. Like, I'm about to be attacked by 2 or 3 tribes, or end up getting declared war on by a bunch of people, and I save, and then seconds later it happens, and then I'm doomed.
Kind of like Fallout 1, where saving before a battle is the worst thing you can possibly do.
Yeah, you want to be careful when you save, but also you want to save often because Spore crashes a lot.
Like planes. Directly into the ground.
And speaking of planes, those exist in Civilization Stage, and they're overpowered.
Unless you have short arms. Welcome to Spore.
Yeah. So, after Civilization Stage is Space Stage, the final stage of the game, and the most open-ended. In Space Stage, there's a lot more you can do. In every other stage, you are one of 3 archetypes, but there's like 9 or 12 in Space Stage. I can't remember how many exactly. And, you can go around between planets, start wars, or start wars. It's mostly fighting. Though I will say, a lot of people don't like the Space Stage. I think a lot of people find it very meandering. They don't know where they're going, they don't know what they're doing, but I like the open-endedness. Now, there is an ultimate goal to the game, which is to get to the center of the galaxy.
And then after that, it continues.
Yeah, it just continues.
Kind of like, but after that, you become gods of Spore and become the gods of whatever you want. The best part of Spore, in my opinion, is making the weirdest possible creature you can think of.
That's really the best part. Though I've had a lot of fun with actually Spore's expansion, Galactic Adventures, because you can create adventures, and that is a utter disaster, but in the most fun way, because you can cause chaos and build whatever creatures and then put them out there, and then they're there and they can say stuff like
B, of course.
or A pish the shurs, a pish the shurs.
B knows all of the Spore language. And of course, the final rating of Spore is a 4.5 out of 5. Spore rating.
My rating is, oh ho ho ho, you're really qualmed up with Enzerg.